So the Riemann Zeta function, for which both the cosine and the sine equals to 0, or closest to 0, can be found when t interval has its decimal form, at least 20 digits. So I have 40 here, 40 digits, because I thought my UDF is able to do some, computation, string math computation, and it will output, it will be able to calculate it even with decimals over 15. But first, it actually only outputs 15 digits after the leading zeros were compressed. You see that it tells you the sign, whether it's negative. It outputs, the UDF outputs 3 parameters, three modes. So the first one is the sign, whether it's a positive or negative. The second one is the how many zeros after the decimal, and the third one is the leading digits. So there's actually the maximum is 15 leading 90 digits, and it seems that it's actually true for also the for when you search for the T string, so the whole number plus the decimal string, it also is limited up to the 15th. So it was only until it's able to return a meaningful increment up to box 4, because each box contains 4 digits. And also I added a feature that it will export text. It actually will create text in each counter, in each increment. So by box, it loops through until 9,999. There's also 9,999 text files for each boxes. All of that will sum to 99,990 for each whole T number. And so you can look at the values. The file names were constructed to be detailed, so you don't have to open the text file, so you can compare all the outputs, all the X and Y outputs, and so you can immediately see when it stopped calculating, when it's stuck, when it's the same number. So, and it also has information to what was the increment with the lowest value. So you will say NL001 if that's the lowest, and then we'll change to NL2803 if that's the next lowest, until up to whatever is found to be the increment that has the lowest cosine and sine combination. So the second dashboard, I made that decision that all the evaluations of the current values, you can see that in the dashboard, so you can make changes as needed, and those are not complicated evaluations. Mainly if the number of zeros has increased, then it means that the value is getting smaller, so that's a new low, and that's what we're looking for. Or the if it's the same, then the leading digits, that it's actually padded, so you can compare it. So it's 15, it's padded to whatever, the same value for the same. So if both have the same 15 digits, then we'll be padded to 15 digits to the right side, so that it can be compared to the previous, if the previous might have less than 15 digits. So because if the starting number, for example, is 2, from the previous, but they both have the same non-zero count. So if the previous was like 299, but there's only 4 leading digits because the rest are zeros, and then the current value is like less than 2, like 199, but there's 15 unique digits, 199, 85765. That still is the lowest, not the other one, even though the other one may have less digits, but because they both have the same zero count. The other one with the first, the leftmost, is higher than the previous one. That would have the higher numbers. So this current values is much lower. The need is lower, even though it seems to have many more digits. So that kind of checks. So and you can see that in dashboard too. So you can evaluate whether it's really whether it makes sense or not. And another thing is if it's less than, if by the end of the loop for that box, if it's less than 10 or greater than 9990, then I just return 00 because it's probably an error. So that's why you see 0 zeros. So and the whole T number only took like less than 8 minutes. So despite the fact that it produced or generated like 99,900 text files, it was actually very quick, so yeah. So whether or not it did not create the same decimal digits as the as a database. Like there's a database for all the T numbers, so it's not the same. So you can look at the database, but like I said, I am not actually the one making the that calculation. That UDF comes from ChatGPT. So